Well, many of our panelists completely zapped at what Congress leader Rashid Alvi said there. More importantly, it was not contradicted really till so far. So the Congress party, even at this moment when it's projected to go under 100, is talking about the secular angle and is now willing to support Mamta Banerjee, or at least put up the thought of Mamta Banerjee as an alternative leader. Is this a sign of desperation? Vinod Mehta, let me start with you.
No, it would be a travesty of public will. It would be a travesty of democracy if they are able to cobble together some kind of ragtag government. It reminds me so much of 1998 when they tried to deny Vajpayee. I think if Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have any sense, they should sit in the opposition and accept this defeat rather than do these kind of dirty tricks and get a 37 of 157 party coalition which they cobble together. I mean, you're defeating the public mood. And I think, first of all, by tomorrow morning, we will know that this will become a non-starter because the numbers will not be on their side. But the very fact that...
Why is the idea being mooted? The question is, why is the idea being mooted? No, but why is the idea being mooted?
Arnab, the very fact that they are trying it suggests what sort of desperation there is.
In March, Rahul Gandhi rubbished the opinion polls. In March, he said we'll get 200 seats. Now, is this the last card, and can Rashid Ali be speaking only for himself?
Arnab, secularism in a country like India is nothing to sort of knock at. But having said that, it cannot become a vigilante thing. It has to come from a mandate.
It's an insult to secularism.
Yes, you cannot impose it with vigilante arithmetic. That secular forces should get together. This is not Algeria. We don't want to become Algeria.
Sabah.
Arnab, the real crisis is that secularism is not a basis of fear. You cannot cobble together something by telling people to be afraid.
Yeah.
I want to clarify this point because I've written extensively on this.
Yeah.
I've called it the crisis of India's moth-eaten secularism. So this is a very desperate action. You can't just say we have to do it because we don't have the mandate, but we have to do it out of fear. We have to go against democratic principles.
Yes.
It's a ridiculous thing to do, and this is what creates a stereotype of a particular community as people who will move anything and be the cover for anyone to do anything. It's a very, very serious problem which should be confronted beyond the, at a superficial level.
Modi. In the long run, it will work for Modi. And it will work for him because 6 months' time, this whatever they cobbled together will break. And but
nobody is actually cobbling anything.
During the election campaign as well, Arnab, this entire secular communal divide, the Congress has tried this during the election campaign. If Modi gets the verdict tomorrow, then it's clearly not worked during the campaign. And Rahul Gandhi, when he was in Kolkata, he actually said, Mamta and Modi are doing business together. So if they're doing business together, then how can today the congressman suggest that Mamta should come out the other side and be the savior of the secular force?
The sheer absurdity of the latter part of Mr. Alvi's comment that we should get Mamta Banerjee to head a government of regional parties, which is supported from the outside by the CPM.
Why is the Congress quiet? Why is the Congress quiet? I mean, today Congress spokespersons are having a meeting. I hope at that meeting they really consider the fact that they should have rather been on this debate to explain why this is going on. I want to know why Congress spokespersons have not come out to speak on this today, because I remember that even in May, Rahul Gandhi very clearly said, we will not support a third front. He said, we will get the numbers, we will not support a third front when he was asked whether his party will sit in the opposition. Things are changing now. Pawan Verma, Meenakshi Lekhi, Suresh Prabhu, Rahul Nardekar, welcome. Pawan Verma, to you first. You've been very strong, proponent of the secular brigade. You have strongly argued for secularism. You have said secular forces should come together. But do you think this now is taking it a bit too far? That you say that we'll prop up Mamta to save secularism almost as an afterthought after the elections?
Arnab, all political parties must learn to respect the mandate of the people. Tomorrow, if the mandate of the people is for the NDA, it has a right to form the government. If for any reason that mandate is either not complete or inadequate, within a democracy there is scope and legitimacy for a counter narrative. After all, we are not in a Modicracy, but in a democracy. But to speak of a third front, alternative front at this stage is completely irrelevant. Post-poll figures will in fact provide even the basic framework for such a discussion. The limited point I want to make to you is, you called it somewhat derisively the secular brigade. I want to make the point to you that there is a counter narrative in this country which will respect the mandate of the people, but which will continue to believe that economic development and religious and social harmony are not polarities and must go together.
Well, surely there is no doubt on that, Pawan Verma. But the argument is that, you know, when it comes to government formation, is secularism going to be a convenient slogan anymore for you to pick up? Is that going to be a practical slogan anymore for you to pick up? I mean, if
I agree with you, Arnab.
Yes.
Secularism has been far too devalued by using it, I agree, for the fear factor, or as being the sole counter narrative.
So what do you mean for the fear factor? What do you mean for the fear factor?
No, because if you are saying that you have a right to form a government merely on the basis of fear, it's not a complete argument. You must be able, with numbers, to form the possibility of a government based on good governance and some agreed agenda. If that is absent,
fear of what, Mr. Verma?
It.
Specify fear of what? Fear of what? A political party, an ideology, or an individual?
I have no hesitation in answering you. The fear factor, and it's not entirely to be dismissed, is that this has been one of the most polarized elections, and both sides, parties on both sides of the so-called political divide are responsible for it. But there is no doubt an element whereby there is a large segment of these people, including the minorities, which have been not convinced by the BJP and the NDA's narrative, and sometimes the statements made and the conduct of those who lead that coalition.
When will there be an admission? When will a political party or a political party spokesperson admit that the glue is about power? The glue is about power. I mean, you can use, if an issue was important, you would have also spoken of corruption. Let's get Meenakshi Lekhi in.
One line, Arnab, I just want to say secularism has to be an ideal. It can't be a tactic. It should be a felt idealism.
You feel the Congress party has reduced it to being a tactic?
Everybody in India has reduced it to a political tactic, which is why nobody is convinced. That is the crisis.
Stitching up in a vigilante manner, you stitch up 15 members, send the cadres out, and secularism is imposed. Secularism has to emerge from the mandate.
It is not just a Muslim vote bank. Secularism is more than just seeking a Muslim vote bank.
Truly, but I haven't heard a single Congress spokesperson come out and clarify on what Rashid Alvi said today. And Rashid Alvi, is fairly senior and high up in the Congress party. Not one contradiction through the entire day as far as Rashid Alvi is concerned. I'd like to get Meenakshi Lekhi's reaction here, not just on not just on what Rashid Alvi has said, but about the possibilities she thinks can be thrown up ahead of the results tomorrow, because there can always be last-minute surprises, Ms. Lekhi.
Absolutely. And we are braced up for all surprises. We are braced up for forming the government. We are braced up for respecting the mandate of the people. We have done so in the past, and we will do so in the future. And if there is any force which binds us all together, is the constitution of this country and the idea of India. Now, coming back to the issue of secularism, I will only state that sometimes I feel secularism is the last refuge of most communal people from the Congress party. Because if anybody has to see the data, statistics, everything, then you analyze if there is anybody who's communal in this country, happens to be the Congress party, which uses politics over the national interests and politics of divide and rule. They learnt it from British, they inherited the legacy from British, and they continue the model. And which is the most shocking state, I think country needs to disregard this thing, but for disregarding, you need an alternative. An alternative needs to be given a strong chance of making its appearance felt and change the narrative of what secularism is all about.
Well, today, you know, a top RSS ideologue, Mr. Vaidya, he said, and I don't know if you know what he said, Meenakshi Lekhi, he said that we expect that if there is a Modi government, then steps will be taken for the construction of a Ram temple. May I, in the context of this particular discussion, ask you whether you think that is also an irrelevant question to ask you whether, you know, you take what Mr. Vaidya said seriously and whether other members of the RSS who would say the same thing would expect the BJP to look the other way.
Mr. Vaidya has stated, but that is, I don't know whether it's the official line of the RSS or not. But
what is the official line of the RSS, Ms. Lekhi? Is it any different?
Let me explain myself.
Is it any different?
Let me explain myself.
From my understanding, the official line of the RSS is echoed by what Mr. Vaidya has said. There isn't any difference.
Okay, allow me to answer the question that whatever Mr. Vaidya has stated. But so far as temple dispute is concerned, the matter is before the court, and courts have held that the temple existed there, and it's the Supreme Court where the final verdict is pending. So I will only say that Supreme Court
but if the matter is in the Supreme Court,
settle it once for all.
Mr. Farooqi is asking, if the matter is before the Supreme Court, we are only taking this.
One more line?
No, we are only taking this as a case in point. Mr. Farooqi wanted to add something.
Yeah,
Mr. Farooqi.
No, allow me to add.
Just allow me to add. He has a question.
Ms. Lekhi is a lawyer. She knows much better than anybody else in the team right now. That whatever High Court has said, whatever High Court has said, it is now pending in Supreme Court. So as on day, nothing is decided. Whether there existed a temple, whether there was masjid or not, nothing is decided, and everything is in sub judice. And I want to come back to your original question. What actually?
She's not giving in. Yes, Ms. Lekhi, he was just making a counterpoint to yours, and the counterpoint is relevant because here is an opportunity, you see. Whether it is a Giriraj Singh who goes against and once again makes the kind of comment that he did. And by the way, he's your party candidate from Bihar. There's no action against him. Similarly, the RSS has given a point of view. In order to actually bury, if you say the secularism bogey, if you call it a bogey, right, the better thing for the BJP to do would be to actually ensure a very clear line of expectations or no expectations on what the RSS can expect on issues like the Ram Temple or the extent to which action can be taken against Mr. Giriraj Singh before or after the Lok Sabha results. That's a limited point. And in fact, if you want to firmly put these concerns to rest, then it will require more than a tweet, Ms. Lekhi, to put these issues to rest.
The Ram Mandir issue, so far as BJP is concerned, it's very, very clear. The High Court decision is already on record. The matter is pending in the Supreme Court. High Court says there was a Ram temple which needs to be rebuilt and a certain apportionment has been given.
Ms. Lekhi, the RSS is influential.
The Supreme Court, so we will await.
Ms. Lekhi, we are not talking. No, Ms. Lekhi, you are reiterating the position. What I'm saying today.
All parties.
No, Ms. Lekhi, everybody knows.
Understand she's not talking.
Everybody knows. Let's get some responses. You see, Ms. Lekhi,
I want to ask a question.
No, Ms. Lekhi, there are some questions coming your way. Ms. Lekhi, just a minute. One minute, just a minute,
a communal
please.
Word.
Ms. Lekhi, just a minute.
Allah is not a communal word, how are you making Ram as communal? That is my question.
Don't try and take the argument the way that you want to by saying Ram is a communal word. Nobody is suggesting that.
How have you denigrated Ram into some sort of communal force?
Today, everybody knows.
That is the paradigm which needs to go back to its roots.
Ms.
The Constitution of India has 15 lithographs of Ram.
Can I please allow you, request you to just let the others come in. You see, Ms. Lekhi, understand one thing today. It is quite clear to everyone, and we have all the pictures of the meetings that have been going on within the BJP, that the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh today is a highly charged up organization, especially during the ascendant period of Mr. Modi. It plays a role in the inner workings of the BJP. You can deny it at all. Mohan Bhagwat is extremely ambitious. He wants to have a role in who gets which government post and who mediates between Sushma Swaraj and Advani and Arun Jaitley on the one side and Narendra Modi. So it's that RSS is surely not going to completely step back. So for you to say that the discussion on whether the RSS will want its cultural agenda, I'm not even saying economic agenda, its cultural agenda to be pushed aggressively by a Modi government is, with the respect, Ms. Lekhi, now Ms. Lekhi, let the others come in, is, in my view, it's a relevant question. It is not a completely unimportant question. It's a relevant question in the times that we are in.
This entire debate is a bogey. I think people
it's
need
easier
to be explained.
It's easy.
I have a question to ask.
Please give me the time.
Ms. Lekhi, just a minute, please. Sankarshan.
Ms. Lekhi, if I may ask you, since you spoke of the constitution and the idea of India, this campaign has seen a kind of, from the BJP's end, a kind of redefining of the idea of minorities in this country as we have understood it all this while. There has been this discourse about no minorities, everyone is equal. Now, are you arriving at a new understanding of how minorities, religious minorities in this country are going to be sort of treated henceforth should the BJP come to power?
The BJP comes to power, my legitimate expectation from them would be that the Constitution of India, which empowers the government to make rules and regulations in terms of the Constitution without discrimination, irrespective of the religion, caste, color or creed, apply the laws equally to all. And if there is an impoverished Muslim, cannot be denied the benefits because he's a Muslim. Similarly, an impoverished Hindu cannot be denied similar rights because he's a Hindu. That is my idea of...
Well, I think Mr. Rahmani has a question. I mean, actually, Taslim Ahmad Rahmani and Mr. Farooq. Yes, Mr. Rahmani.
While we are talking about redefining India or rediscovering India, what's the need of talking about the Hindus and Muslims?
Ms. Lekhi, please, she heard you. He has heard you, now hear him. Yeah.
Actually, at this point of time, why we are talking about the Babri Masjid and Ram Mandir and all that? It's very clear, we are a democracy, we are a functional democracy. Whatever will be the mandate, and whosoever get the mandate, he must form a government. It's very clear. Whatever the Rashid Alvi Saab has said, it's very premature. He must not have said all this kind of thing today. But what is the mandate? It's not known today. It will be known just after 10 hours. We will know that. On the basis of some exit polls, we cannot say that either this way the mandate is going or that way. If the people of India says that Narendra Modi should form a government, we must be welcome with open arms, with open hands. That, okay, you come, and then we'll see what he does. Everybody must know that we are a democracy and we are a secular socialist democracy.
One thing must also be accepted, and it must be accepted by people like Digvijay Singh, that you can't constantly bring the secular, communal, secular argument at any point of time. I mean, look at what Digvijay Singh says today, and I really wonder whether the Congress party knows, whether the political prudence of its statements is not going to be assessed by the people.
He doesn't have the keys to say we can't hand over the country.
For him to say today,
who are they to say this?
Just a minute.
Who is he to say this?
No, one second. He says, let me just say, we can't hand over this country.
Who's we?
No, he says we can't hand over this country to people who create communal disturbances, disturb the communal harmony.
Just last week, these people killed 50 people in Assam. 50 people in Assam.
The question is,
Assam.
The question is, when Muzaffarnagar was burning, right? What was Mr. Digvijay Singh doing? Did he say that the UPA government should dismiss the Mulayam Singh government for incompetence? When there were ethnic disturbances going on in Assam, which were given a communal flavor.
Allies of NDA who are allies at the center, they are allies at the state government in Assam. The same, they are not, they are communal at the center, they are secular in the state.
So what
and
is
they are butchering 50 Muslims there, and the government is silent.
So what is the point therefore is, and I'd like to ask a Congress party ally.
I agree, Meenakshi Lekhi, the most communal force in the country is the Congress party.
Mr. Rahmani, you know, I think the point is that while it's extremely relevant to ask the question, that is it or is it not, should we not ask the questions of whether what happens to minorities, etc., to use this as a political tactic, as Sabha says,
agree, Sabha.
to reduce the whole thing into a political tactic will be extremely inappropriate,
parties are not
especially
secular.
for the
people of India are
Congress
secular.
party, which has failed to do anything on its own or answer issues of price rise, inflation or corruption effectively for the last at least 3 or 4 years, or scams for that matter, non-stop. They use it like a political tactic. I'd like to get Rahul Narvekar's view on that. Rahul Narvekar, the use of secularism as a political tactic, do you think that should stop now, especially in the wake of what Rashid Alvi is saying and what Digvijay Singh says?